All right, here now, I am going to go ahead to create my virtual environment and then start my project. So to create my virtual environment, I am going to use Python -m VEMV. Then let's call this VEMV as well. So the first VEMV is the command for creating a virtual environment in Python, and the second VENV is the name of my virtual environment. You can go ahead to name it anything you like, but I prefer to use VEMV. So I hit enter. Now virtual environment has been created. So the next thing is to install Django and start working on it. So let's install Django. So to do that, we can use pip install Django. And this is going to install the latest version of Django, which currently is Django version 5.1. So we can wait for it for the installation to be complete. Actually, we made a mistake. We should be activating the virtual environment. So I'm going to clear this. And what I will need to do is I am going to do VEMV /scripts /activate.bat. And this command is for Windows. If you are on Mac, make sure you use the Mac command, and the Mac command is source space slash the name of your virtual environment /bin /activate, and that is going to activate your virtual environment if you are using Mac or Linux. So you can see that my virtual environment is activated now. So what I will do is I will rerun that command again, which is pip install Django, so that this Django will be installed directly into this virtual environment. That's the essence of activating the virtual environment before installing your Django. All right, Django has been installed into our virtual environment, so we can clear this off. Now, the next thing is to start our Django project. So to create our Django project, so what we will do is let's pick a name we will give to our application. So I am going to call my own website. So what I will do is I will use Django -admin start project, followed by a space and the name of the project. So my own is going to be website. And I'm going to give a space with a dot so that Django doesn't create an additional file or folder. Now Django has created website, and within website we can see all these files. And it also created the manage.py, which is the command line tool for running our Django application. I will also go ahead to start or to create my Django application. So Django application is the components of a Django project. So a Django project is the overall structure of your website, of your application, or whatever you're doing. The overall structure is the Django project, whereas the Django app are the components, different parts of your project. So let's call this one accounts, or let's call it uh, my account. So let's do that. So we use Django dash admin start app, and I am going to call it my account, and hit enter. Now you can see that Django has created my account, and within it we will have all these files. Now the next thing is I am going to pull this one down. I am going to go to the project directory, and I'm going to look for the settings.py, and under the settings.py I am going to actually delete some of these comments, but because I don't actually need them, and I'm going to look for where Django has the list of all the installed applications. So I am going to add the application that I just created, and that is my account. Now, having done this, Django has noticed that I have created an app. I will also do something else. I need to tell Django to always look for the URLs from my app and make sure that it adds it to the project. So the first thing I will need to do is to come to my app, and I will create urls.py. Now before I set it up, I will first of all go to the urls.py under the project. Now let's remove all these comments. All right, now we should import this function called include. And if you look here, you can see that by default, Django has added an admin URL. So we shall go ahead to add our own URLs, and we will add it on the front page of the website, on the front part or the home page of the website. And we are using the include function to include the my account dot urls, and this is supposed to be our function, sorry, a string. And that's all for now. Meanwhile, I am also going to copy this one. For now, I am going to open the urls.py from my application, the one that I created. I'm going to paste this, but then I am going to do some justification. I am going to remove the admin. I am also going to remove this include, and as well this one. Now this is just to tell Django that anywhere that it sees this thing, that I request for any URL, that it should use all these URL that appears here and send them to the URLs on the project. So let's add some URLs. So before we add some URLs, we also need to import the view, because you know that Django is a model view template structure architecture. So what Django does is that it uses the model as the backend or the database, and whichever data that it collects from the model will be sent to the views, and the views controls the logic on how these data are transferred. So when the views control all the logics, it now sends it to the template, and this template is rendered on the URLs, on the different URLs. So the URLs should also call on each of these functions from the views. So what we need to do is to first of all go to the views, and we are going to create the different views. So for now, I am going to just create a function for the home, and this is going to take in requests as its parameter, and this is going to return render and requests, and it's going to take me to the home.html, which I am going to be creating any moment from now. And I am going to move into this. Now I am going to tell Django from dot views, or rather from dot views import home. So I am actually importing the home function, but there is a better way to do this so that I can import all the view function. So had it been I have so many views here, or so many functions that will return different views, you will notice that here I will be importing them one after the other. So because of that, I have this method from dot, which is because the view exists in the same directory with the URLs. So because of it, I will say from dot import views, so that I can import everything. All right. So here I am going to use views dot home. So because that's the function that I want to return to this particular URL. And I am going to also have it with name is equal to home. All right. If I also want to return other other URLs, I will do it in a couple of minutes. So we have done this and we have created these things. Now, we should make sure that we have the templates within this app. So we create a folder, and we're going to call it templates. So this is just the convention, but you can call it anything you like. So I am going to create home.html, and this is basically where my home will be returned. So let's have h1 and say welcome to home. All right, now let us go ahead to run our server. So to run our server, we are going to be using Python manage.py run server. So Python has created a server for us. So what I am going to do is I'm going to control and right click, and you can see welcome to home, and this is the home directory, sorry, the home page. All right, so having done this, we want to have a login form that is going to, a login, registration, logout, and reset password. And the first thing is that we don't want anybody that enters into this website to see this home. We only want to show the home to the logged in users. So the first thing we are going to be doing now is to create a registration page. So that registration page is going to authenticate or create a user and store it on our database, so that when the user comes back, they can log in or log out. So that's the next thing we are going to be doing. So we can come back and remove all this Now, what we want to do is to um, actually create some URLs for the registration, or rather we can start from the views. So let's create the view function for the registration. So we can create a function. Let's call it register, and it's going to take requests, and this is going to return render register.html. So let's have the template and create register.html. So basically for now, we would not be adding anything there. So let's go to the URLs. On the URLs, we'll be adding the path for the URL. And this is going to take register. This is going to take us to the register page, and it's going to take us, it's going to be views.register, and the name is going to be register. So this is the register page. Now, to be sure that everything is working perfectly, let us just have page 1 and say register. Okay, and let's see it on the website. So let's append that slash register and see. Sorry, let's end the server and run. So that's it. So most of the times, if you are doing some of these changes, make sure that you close the server and rerun it again. Okay, so let's get back and do the logic, because this is not actually what we want to return on the registration page. So let's put this one down. For now, I am going to close this one. Now I am going to be making use of the default Django authentication. So on the views, before I handle these views, on the on that my app, we need to create forms.py, and I am going to be importing some basic things like the user authentication, because that is what I'll be using. That's the default Django user creation form. So let's do that. So what I am actually doing here is I am importing this user creation form so that I will be using the default Django user creation form, as well as I'll be also making use of the default Django users model, and as well the Django forms. Now let us create a class that we handle this form. So this is a class that we handle the registration form. So you can basically name this thing anything you like. And this registration form is inheriting the user creation form, and these are the fields that I would be needing for that. So the username, the email, the password. So the password 1 and the password 2 are basically for confirm password. So this is the confirm password, so that the two of them will match. There will be the exact values before I can register this user, so that they will have to make sure that their password is correct before proceeding to register. All right. So having done this, we will go to the views, and on the views we are going to do one more thing. We are going to from Django.shortcut, we will import redirect, which we are going to be using to redirect the user when they are registered. So when they are registered, we are going to be redirecting them to the home page, and that is this one. And the next thing is that we will also be uh, using from django.contrib.auth import authenticate. So we need to import authenticate so that we can authenticate the user. We need to import login and import logout. But for now, we don't actually need the logout, but I'm going to leave it like that. One more thing, we also will be needing the form that we created. So we can from Django dot okay from dot forms import registration form. So we are going to import that registration form which we created on this form. So we can now do the logic here on the registration page. So here, here we are going to be, so I'm going to just do something. Don't bother yourself with that. I'll still explain it. So we are going to uh, from from yeah from this. So what we are going to be doing here is if request.method is post, because we are actually looking at the request from the forms on the HTML. So, and we are telling Django that if that request is a post method, that it should take this form, which is the user creation form, and it should post it and store it as form. It is going to store it as the variable called form. And if this form that it is storing is valid, that it should save the user which has been created. And once it saves that user, it should log in this user. So we are making use of this login that we imported from here. So we are saying that it should log in that user and make sure that it redirects them to the home page. So, but else, so if this does not work, so if this is not working, then it should now return this form and make sure that it sends that person back to the registration page. So I am actually, so this is just a very simple logic. I hope the logic is not too difficult. I'm going to be leaving the source code to this on my GitHub repository, so you can actually fork it and use it, look into it while learning. So as you're learning, always try to practice. Practice makes perfect. All right, let's proceed. I am going to do something. Let's pull this one up and close this server. So one more thing is I am going to make sure that I run python manage.py migrate so that I can migrate all the users that Python Django has already created for me, because I am actually making use of it. Uh, One more thing is we are going to go to the register page and we are going to make sure that we have those form here. So I'm going to just create this div HTML. Let me call this register for now. And here I am going to create a form. And here I am going to make it a post request. And on this form, I am going to use this Django template. I am going to bring in CSRF underscore token. So this is to protect this form from cross-site request forgery attacks. And then here I am going to render the form. So let's render the form. So this is going to take in form. So this form is the registration form. Let us run Python manage.py run server. All right, let's look into this website and refresh. Nothing happened. I think we have some issue. So let's look into that. It says no issue identified, and it is getting this. Let's see one more time on the register. So there is no issue. So it is not actually returning the form, and we need to check it out. So one of the issues I feel that is the reason why we are not seeing this form is that let's bring this one down, is that when you come to the registration page, we are not rendering this form into the template. So we need to do that. So we are going to create a dictionary, and it's going to take in form is form. So I think with this, all the problem would be handled. So let's close the server with Control C and run it back. Python manage.py run server. Now let's see if everything will be resolved. Now you can see that our form is returning. So we have the username, we have the email, and we have the password and this. Now you can actually customize this according to how you want, which I am going to be showing you in another video completely. So at this point, we have done justice to this. Let us go ahead to create an account. So I am going to create this account, Emeka, with this email, and the password is going to be and let's click on the register, and you can see it takes us to the home page. So that's it. I'll see you in our next class. In the next video, we are going to be looking into the login and the logout forms. I'll see you. Make sure you click on the subscribe button and hit on the notification bell so that anytime I post my video, you are going to get notified from me. I take my time to do all these videos. Please show some love by subscribing and supporting this channel. I'll see you in our next video.